Inspiring man from Russia. His name was Father Gleb Yakunin. He was a Russian Orthodox priest, and he'd spent 5 years in jail for his faith, in Siberia too, under terrible conditions. And the authorities said to him, "You can take one thing into the jail with you. What will it be?" They expected him to say a Bible or a prayer book. He said, "My beads, my prayer beads." I was talking to him later. I said, "Why did you say your prayer beads?" He said, "Well, I have a system that keeps me alive, that enabled me to survive in the camp." And he said, "It was so important, I use it all the time now." And he taught it to me, and this is how it was. So he showed me his prayer beads. They're similar to these. There are 33 beads. 33 is an important number because that's one for every year of the life of Christ. They are split up into 3 groups of 11. You can just see the little bead that divides the sections. What he would do is every morning he would get up and he would count off 11 reasons why he was glad to be alive. He called it a shower of thankfulness every morning. And he believed that that was important because you must start the day with gratitude. If you get bitter, life goes dark. You must work at staying grateful. So he looked up to God. 11 reasons why he was thankful to be alive. He doesn't have to stop at 11, but this is just the discipline of it. And after he had done that, he would turn to the next 11 and he would count off 11 reasons why he was glad Jesus Christ was his Lord. So he would focus on Christ and access the beauty of Christ for his life. He was glad for Christ bringing him salvation. He was glad that Christ went to the cross so willingly. He was glad that Christ treated women so well and people who society didn't like, because if Christ had room for them, he had room for me. And so he would go on like this. And he says, that's my power. My power, Christ is the one who gives me the power. I can be grateful, that's fine, but I receive power from Christ. And then the final 11, he counted off 11 needs he had to put into the hands of God. Now, this was often a matter of life and death. He would look at that prisoner who had attacked him last night and he said, "Lord, I leave his mental health in your hands. I can't do anything. You need to help me with that." And he counts off his requests to God and he leaves them with God. And he would do it again and again. And Gleb Yakunin believed that this helped him to thrive in prison and not just survive. For Gleb, he felt like this contained the essential rhythm of daily life. You had to start with thankfulness. That's basically who we are as a creature. We're put in this beautiful world. Our first duty is to notice it and rejoice in it. And you can do that anywhere. Being in a prison doesn't matter. And then we are connected to Christ. This is what makes us special. Christ came, Christ values us, Christ gives us power. And then finally, we live our lives in God's help. We don't live alone. We don't live it in our own power. We need God to live our life well. So those became the essential rhythms of how to live a good life in the power of God. You look up and you're thankful. You look to Christ and you have power. You look to all you need to do and you ask God for help. And I remember saying to him afterwards, I said, "Well, you don't need something physical, do you?" He said, "No, you don't." But he said, "Normally, the body needs reminding. We're in a body. Why not remind the body to pray?" Because he said, you'll probably find that you'll forget if you don't have something physical. So put this in your hand and you'll remember to start with thankfulness. Put Christ first and involve him in everything you do that day.